This is an article that reads a timeline of Brady and Giselle's relationship and split. When she knew what she was getting into, she knew who he was. Women just find ways to manufacture indignation, it's been said. Drama. In the absence of drama or indignation, women will actively manufacture it. World-class athlete, rings, winning championships. Women want to be with him. Men want to be him. Fill stadiums with tens of thousands of people wearing jerseys with his name printed on the back. This is an article that reads a timeline of Brady and Giselle's relationship and split. This was published this summer in 2024. I'm not going to read all of this. Let's go down to circa 2024. Tom opens up about the impact of his career, impact his career had on his marriage during the interview with Howard Stern, saying that Giselle has felt he wasn't doing his part for the family. And again, felt, I feel like, it's a very soft, feminine way of speaking. Felt like I would play football all season and she would take care of the house. She wasn't satisfied with our marriage, so I needed to make a change in that. Her point was, well, yeah, of course, this works for you. It all works for you, but it doesn't work for me. I don't know what to say about that, aside from boohoo, cry me a river. You knew who Tom Brady was when you met him when he was 29, and you were a pretty face supermodel on a runway somewhere. You knew who he was exactly, right? World-class athlete. It's not like you didn't know his name when you met him. You didn't know what he did for a living. You didn't know what his commitment to his craft was. And I think they were married for 12 years. It was definitely over a decade. But this commitment to who he is and what he's about shouldn't change. A friend of mine who is also an athlete, retired from his sport, did very well, was in the Hall of Fame. He's a good friend of mine. He spoke at my event earlier this year in January 2024 in Toronto, my 1% Forum. By the way, my next in real life event will be October, so fall next year. We had a number of conversations. We've spent a lot of time together talking about stuff. And one of the things that he had told me was, after he retired from sport, again, world-class athlete, at some point, you hit the wall as an athlete and you really don't have the capability to perform or compete at the level that you did when you were younger, when you're healthier and stronger and your joints are all, you have less energy, injuries and all that sort of stuff. And, he said to me one time, I was, it was like the middle of the day and I put my head down on the couch, take a nap to lie down. And my wife came into the room and she said to me, "What are you doing?" With disdain, with some distaste, with almost a level of contempt, it sounded like, was my interpretation of the way that it was presented. And he said, "What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm taking a nap." And she said, "No, like, why aren't you doing something?" Right. And he goes, "Look around, right? You live in this house, look at the beautiful, life that I've created, the children, all that sort of thing. If I want to put my head down and take a nap in the middle of the day in my retirement, I'm going to do that." And I think women don't understand their capacity to betatize a male, and men don't appreciate how women's view changes with them over time of who you are. I've always said, and I maintain this, guys, you have a responsibility, a strong obligation to chase excellence, put a dent in the universe, and continue to do that basically in a perpetuity. Last thing a woman wants is to look at a guy and be like, he's not the guy that I married. He's not that winner that I committed to. Why is he taking a nap in the middle of the day, like as an example? So that rings true. And I find that interesting based on how he's described it with this interview excerpt, like the soundbite with the Stern conversation. But I saw the same sort of thing when I was talking to my friend about his retirement. I'm not going to give away names. I mean, he mentioned it publicly at the event. That's it. I mean, if you want to see the interview with him, it's actually on my email list. I keep forgetting to put my email list on the bottom, but you can get it on over here. It gives you the red flag chapter out of my book, The Unplugged Alpha. It's a free chapter, 21 red flags that you need to understand, when you're going to invite a woman in your life on a long-term basis, a committed basis anyway. And there's actually the sit-down talk that I did with him there, so you can go check that out if you're not on the email list. So Tom opens up, "Doesn't work for me." Okay. Obviously, things were fine for several years after this, so consider that the quote, a little background as we head to. So this was before 2022. So before 2022, she was already complaining to him. "You're not doing your part in the family." Was it over there? Yeah, doing his part for the family. In a situation where you're a world-class athlete and you're married a pretty face, your job is to bring home the bacon. She cooks it up. there's not going to be a whole lot of time for him. Like, again, I don't play sports at that level. I've never even come close. Okay, like I've done bodybuilding, I've done boxing, I've done a lot of independent sports, motorsports, racing, stuff like that, but nothing at a world class level. I've never been that good. I'm not that athletic. I'm fit. I like movement, obviously, but I'm not that level of an athlete. Not even close. So it's interesting to see that this new demand, given their training schedule, practices, travel, was a complaint when she knew what she was getting into. She knew who he was. Women just find ways to manufacture indignation. It's been said, drama. In the absence of drama or indignation, women will actively manufacture it. Happens to everybody, including Tom Brady, world-class athlete, rings, winning championships. Women want to be with him. Men want to be him. Fill stadiums with tens of thousands of people wearing jerseys with his name printed on the back. It doesn't get any better than that. I don't think that, there's not stadiums filled with like, even with Trump as a president, there's not stadiums with people wearing jerseys with Trump's name on the back, maybe MAGA hats or whatever, but nothing to that level. So this is an interesting case from that perspective. Anyway, it goes on to 2022 in August is the next epoch in the timeline. And it says Tom is excused from practicing with the Buccaneers. To head coach says he's dealing with some personal things. So August 11th, 2022, the announcement's made that he's dealing with some personal things. Tom has been excused today. The head coach explains he'll be back somewhere around after Tennessee. He's going to deal with some personal things. And this looks like a caption of a tweet on the date. Bucs head coach Todd Bowles told reporters that Tom Brady will be away from the team to deal with personal matters until after Tampa's August 20th pressing game versus the Titans. One of the worst things that can happen to a guy is instability in his personal life, in his relationship, in his home. A man's personal life, his home should be a place of peace and refuge. He wants to be respected. He wants to be valued, especially at this level. I mean, like even your average guy that might be making decent money, holding down a good career, looking after the family, keeping a roof over their head, doing his absolute best to protect them, sort of thing, would feel let down by a woman, I think, making his life difficult. There's no guy that is out there chasing excellence, putting out fires all day, doing remarkable things, that wants to come home to chaos. He wants to come home to peace. He wants to come home to serenity. He wants to come home to love. He wants to come home to a place of refuge and comfort, not chaos. It's frustrating. I've certainly experienced it. I know a lot of you guys watching have certainly experienced it. But to August 27th, 2022, which is the next epoch in this timeline, it says, after the 11-day absence from practice, Tom returns and tells reporters, everyone has different situations they're dealing with, and we all have really unique challenges to our lives. I'm 45 years old. Man, there's a lot of shit going on. You just have to try to figure out life the best you can. It's a continuous process. So that was a span of a few weeks. All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full-length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here, where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the Courses tab. Newer to the channel? Hit subscribe.